welcome to the show today. Today, I have Gregorio Uglioni on the show, and he's the head of business excellence and customer experience at Swisscard. And I'm very excited to talk to you. And we had a really cool pre-discussion already. We just talked about passion and excitement, and super excited to have you here. And welcome to the show.
Hi, Daniel. Thank you very much for inviting me. Ladies and gentlemen, happy to be here and share my thoughts with you.
Yeah, great. Awesome. So let's dive right into the story. Tell us a little bit more about who is Gregorio and what's sort of the story that got you to where we are today.
Sure. It's quite normal story. You are also already hearing from my English. My native language is Italian. I'm coming from Ticino, the southern part of Switzerland. And then I came to Zurich roughly 15 years ago for studying. I studied at the University of Zurich. And then I started my career at Accenture. It was really a great school. I learned quite a lot, great people, really interesting project. It was during the big crisis, the last one, 2008. I had a lot of short projects with quite a lot of different clients. And one of my last clients was Swisscard. And then I decided to move to Swisscard. And I am at Swisscard since 9 years. It's quite a lot of time, but it's still really funny. I moved 3 times internally in the company. I started doing project manager. Then I moved to operations. And there I was responsible for a customer-centric transformation. And now my last job is business excellence and customer experience. Basically, it's pretty similar what I was doing, but from another point of view, from another part of the company. I think this was a bit the business part, but it's also interesting to a bit deep dive in who is really Gregorio. I have, for me, one of biggest value and the most important is my family, being with the family, spending time with the family. I have a small son, 3.5 years old. Today is in the kita, therefore he will not disturb us during the discussion because, as you see, I am in home office. I like very much soccer. I was playing soccer, and now I am watching at soccer in the television. And what I like and what also discussed earlier, it's, I really like what I'm doing. I'm passionate about what I'm doing about customer experience, digitalization, transformation, innovation, and therefore I always try to learn during my whole life, taking courses, having a look at them, and if something makes sense, then I do the certification. If not, then at least I learned something. And one thing I want to mention is, as said, I am a certified customer experience professional from the CXPA in London, and there I have really a great community with whom I can share my CX ideas. I can get great ideas, and I'm really looking forward to deep dive in your questions because it's quite an interesting topic, human-centric innovation.
Yeah, thanks for the introduction. And I would suggest that we dive right in because obviously there is a lot of passion from your side there. So I really want to understand, obviously we're talking about, the customer in the center, putting the customer in the center, being more customer-centric, being more human-centric. But why is that important? Why do you believe it's so important to put the customer in the center, to have the human being in the center? Why is that?
Oh, this is, I think that's a great start. Because if you go to conferences in person or remote, then you explain what you are doing. Then you say, I'm working at Swisscard. And at the end, people ask, are you in B2B or B2C or what are you exactly doing? And my answer, it's, I'm not B2B or B2C, but I am human to human, age to age. Because if we're speaking about customer, I have internal customers, are the people in the company that works with me. I am trying to support them, to help them, my team, also my stakeholders, my boss. And on the other side, we have also our external customers, and our external customers are also human, and we need to have an interaction with them. We need to spend time with them and to understand what they are doing. And therefore, I'm in the human to human business. That's my point of view, and it's quite clear. And most of the time then when you start discussing this, the next one is, you are the one that you say customer is extremely important, but it's a fluffy stuff. And why are you saying that? I am convinced, 100% convinced, that customer experience, it's not something fluffy, but it's a growth strategy, because with customer experience, you can increase acquisition, you can improve your retention, you can decrease cost, because if you make a process more efficient, not only internal, but also external, then you can decrease cost and you can improve the share of wallet. Because if you have happy customer that are really dedicated and loyal to your company, then they will use your products. And therefore, I'm always says customer first, digital second. Both are my passions, but I have a clear prioritization based on what I said. And this is, for me, one of the most important things. What motivated me, it's having impact to the customer, trying to find solution for them. And this is extremely important. If I go one step forward, I'm speaking about company. The big question that I always have, and I am also learning in all these webinar and so on, it's clear. A company has a clear mission, is a clear vision, and they want to achieve something. And I am in the business since 12 more years. It's clear. You need to earn money, you need to get the money to pay your people and to continue your strategy. My question is, do you as a company have in your vision the customer? If you are saying that's one of the most important assets, the second one is for sure your employees, because without employees you cannot work with customer. Is the customer in your vision? And then we start thinking and looking around, who are the best practices, who are the examples that we see on the world that are really, really good one. They have success, but they are customer focused. And I start with the example that I like most. It's Ritz-Carlton. Perhaps you know this hotels chain. Everybody would like to go there. And if we think about the mission that they have, it's 9 words. We serve ladies and gentlemen. No, sorry, we are ladies and gentlemen serving ladies and gentlemen. They are extremely successful. They are everywhere. In each country you are going, if you want to have a 5-star hotels, you go to Ritz-Carlton, you get the service that you want, you get the service that you expect. In the company mission, in the company vision, there is nothing about getting more money, increasing prices and all this stuff, but it's about ladies and gentlemen, employees, serving ladies and gentlemen. You put on the same level customer and employees, and this is something that I like really, really very much, because it's important you have both on the same level. It's not customer is king, but on the same level, and ladies and gentlemen, employees are serving the customer. And I think this is the way for the success. And I think this is one of the best examples that we have. If you allow me, I mention a second example, and please stop me if I'm...
No, absolutely. I'd love to hear the second example and then dive a little bit more into this one as well.
It's really interesting. There is another example, because you say, yeah, but Ritz-Carlton, it's quite easy because you can impress customer with the hotels chain, with dinner, with the wine and all this stuff, dining and so on. Then I take another example. Bob Chapman, perhaps you know him. Bob Chapman is one of the really great people that started a customer-centric transformation, and he decided to base everything about the employees. One of the first videos I saw from him was, he was stating something like that, and it's not a real quote, it's my understanding of what he's saying. It's quite a lot of people are saying, thanks God it's Friday. Why not trying to create a culture within in the company that people says, thanks God it's Monday. And this is really an easy thought, but it's massive what you can have as an impact. And sorry, perhaps also Bob Chapman is the CEO of Barry Wellmiller, and they are creating paper solution manufacturing for big companies. It means they are creating paper boxes, carton boxes, and therefore it's something that it's quite difficult to impress other people, but he created a 2 billion company. He started with one product, now he has quite a lot of products, and one of the things that I think it's really key, sorry, I read that because I want to state that correctly, is we measure success by the way we touch the lives of people. And this is, again, I think a great message. And I think we need to learn also from these examples, because these are really successful company. And for me, it's key, and it's where all the companies start. What is the mission? Is the customer in the mission? If it's not there, as of today, I would suggest, please take a review of that and look into that.
I love that you made it somehow a little bit broader as well, because one of the questions that I always have as well, like, I always talk about the human, just like you, and rarely just about customer or user or employee or shareholder is another human being, actually, at the end of the day. Or they're all human beings in a sense, right? And what I like what you talked about, the employees and the customers, because sometimes also the conversation is who really comes first. Is it the customer? Is it the employee? Is it somebody else? Of course, the big discussion at Wall Street is who comes first, the shareholder or somebody else. And I find that really, really interesting. And I like when we're going to, well, the human comes first, and then let's go from there.
Yes.
Because
exactly. But let's make that a bit more tangible, perhaps doing some example. Or we are also speaking about innovation. And also there, I had really a good discussion about an app. Let's take an example. What's the next feature that we are implementing in this app? And on one side, for a company, one feature, it can be, let's say, a button. I'm coming from the credit card business. It's a button to ask for a new card or to get a new PIN. And this is only one button that you put in the app. But on the other side, the customer that are using that, for them, it's an entire experience that you are going through. And then if you find this button at the right point in time, when you really need that, then you can push there, and it can change also lives. Perhaps not with credit cards, but with other apps. There is one great example, 9/11 in the US. If in the right point in time, you remember there is an app I can push there, and then I start all what I need, then it's really key. And therefore also there, having this understanding, yes, as a company, I'm doing that, and what it's happening then to the customer, what are the experience that have the customers. Perhaps also one example that we did, we worked together with Speech, is the startup in Switzerland. They are an AI company. They have a voice-to-text solution that can translate what people are saying into text. In Switzerland, they are well known because they understand Swiss German. And what we did is, let's take the contact center example. If you call a contact center, then most of the time it comes this IVR. It's please press 1 if you have a question about your credit card. Please press 2 if you have a question about your bill, and so on. And this is really some not mere state of the art, let's say like that. And what we did with them is we decided to implement this voice-to-text solution. And if you're calling us, then we are asking to the customer, please tell us what happened, what do you need? And the customer can say, with the easiest medium that the customer has, is voice, to us. Let's say, I make an example, I need to change my address, or I want a new PIN. What we are doing, or we are doing together with Speech, we translate real time what the customer said. We connect that to the process that needs to be executed. We look for the next best agent. It means the agent that can really serve the customer, if we think back what I said earlier. And then we can start the connection between the customer and the next best agent able to solve the customer issue.
I love that so much, because like I always remember those calls, like, press 1 for German, press 2 for French, press 3 for English, and then it continues. And here's your 9 options now, in which category. And sometimes I go like, well, it doesn't even fit into one of these categories. So what do I do now? And then I'm hoping for the option 10, where it says, if you're not pressing anything, you're going to get connected to a live agent.
Yes.
But it's, but the experience itself, it's like, it's just, you just wait and wait and wait and wait. And yeah, it's not like we have a lot of time to wait these days to get through to a support call. So I love stuff like that. And I love that, because at the very center, yes, it is the customer, it is the human, but I really believe it's the natural behavior of the human being. That's what's really at the center. So that's what I find so fascinating, because when I see really customer-centric and user-centric solutions, what they actually do is they remove all the hurdles so that we need to be different than how we're built, in a way. Like speaking, right? Saying, or even like if you said, okay, let's just upgrade it one little bit from pressing one to saying one, that still wouldn't be natural. I wouldn't say one or two, right? And even just saying the category, just say that wouldn't be natural. But actually the most natural thing, right, is for me to actually quickly say what it's about. I need a new PIN, or I want to change my address, and things like that. So this is really, really interesting. Now, how do you, so let's talk about customer centricity, user centricity, or human centricity, a little bit more practical from a process perspective. Where do you start? Like, we talked about methodology before, so I'm super, super curious, like, where do you start? Like, if you say, okay, we want to really change something, or just say, let's say we have a product, a digital product, we really want to make this more customer centric. Where do you start?
I had a great discussion with one of my colleagues. He's working in another company, and they told me, great, we did a great step forward. Now we are customer centric. We are doing user testing together with our customers. And I say, I'm optimistic. I want to see the positive side of things. And therefore I'm saying, it's really great, because at least you get feedback before you are going out to the customer. And now, if we really think, and what you said, it was also really interesting. You mentioned, or you said one sentence, it was, I don't want to spend time. And therefore, let's go 1 or 2 or 3 steps back. And if you are creating new solution, I like the word new experiences, then start from there. Try to understand the needs of the customer. And one big example also there is what you said, spend time. There is one great book, The Experience Economy, and there you can divide, and I make it really extremely simple to cut down the time. I'm speaking about it quite a lot. It's time well spent, time well saved. Time well saved, the best example is Amazon. One click, as you said, I have an issue, I want to solve the issue as quick as possible. I want to save time. Make it extremely simple. I use the word convenient, and perhaps if somebody is interested can have a look at the convenience idea that Shep Icon has. And on the other side is time well spent. If you are going to the Disney park, then it's not about I want to go out as quick as possible, but I want to spend as much time as I can in this park. And Disney created everything around exactly this idea to keep you there, to organize something to eat, to ensure that when you are going in, you can do everything you want. And these are the two biggest difference. Claire, we can deep dive. Therefore, if we start by understanding the customer needs, what our customer wants, and you start creating the experience needs from there before the design phase, also when you have some ideas with getting feedback from the customer or from the employees, what we can do next. If you would start some step earlier, then perhaps you can create better experiences.
Yeah, I love the distinction between time saved and time well spent. Yeah, it's very different. Yeah, it's really, really, really good. And just going into one topic that almost always comes up, which is stakeholder management. So, most often you don't have one stakeholder. You say, okay, let's put the customer in the center, and here's what that means. And sometimes that, doesn't 100% align with the interests and with the agenda of other stakeholders. Maybe the shareholders, maybe the business, maybe the whatever, there's different stakeholders in the game. how do you deal with that? Do you think it's important to bring everybody on the same page? Do you think that's like impossible anyway? So it's like you need to sort of like manage them separate. Like, how do you go about this challenge?
I think also here we could spend some hours discussing about that. I have my view, and my view is start small. It means instead of trying to convince everybody, start small with the support, with people that understand that and that want to support you. And then you can create some small initiatives where you create impact. And it's clear at the end, fully understood, you need to calculate what is the return on investment. Company are paying us to create something, and it means we need to create return on investment. Therefore, start small with supporters and perhaps with some topics with small improvement, process improvements, or let's say also on the employee experience, where you can create efficiency and create and motivate other people. And then going forward, it will change. Also with this COVID situation, it came. Digitalization speed up extremely. I think we are 5 years further than we would be without COVID. And now also at the beginning, also before COVID, it was not possible to think about having people in home office continuously. Because let's say the old-fashioned way of seeing this, it was presence management. If you are here, you are working, and therefore I can check that you are working. And now we are result-based. You are at home, it means people need to have trust, and then you work. And we are seeing also the discussion with other colleagues, it's working. And it was due to COVID, but we are here, we are working from home, and it's really working very well. And therefore, I think this is quite important. And going back to your question, it's not me as the responsible for customer experience pushing and telling to the team, you need to do this, this, and that. But it's about we. It's not me, myself, my own, but it's we. What can we achieve as a team? And then trying to explain why we are doing stuff, and not what people need to do or how they need to do. And then if you explain why we are doing that, to earn money, to keep our customer loyal, and then you see that people, if you have some success, will come on your train and come with you going through this transformation. And I think this is really key and really important.
I love the start small and go step by step, because sometimes I feel like it can feel like this insurmountable mountain where everything needs to line up perfectly in order for the big picture to be there. But the big picture never happens in an instant; it happens over time. So it just makes sense that we actually, go with that time. And you already touched upon the area I want to dive into anyway, which is leadership. And I don't necessarily mean leading the people that you have in your department or division. I mean more like leadership. To me, it's more like, how do you bring people along? How do you communicate change and things like that? So talk to me about your leadership playbook. Do you have a playbook? Is there some sort of are there guiding principles that you use, or how do you go about that?
I start also with an example, and then it's sure we can discuss about it. If we think as of today, how our company organized, we have the pyramid. The most paid is at the top most of the time. And let's say sometimes, because I think there are some CEOs looking at that, therefore I don't want to be unpolite, they are the one that are really far, far away from the customer or for the contact center employees that are at the bottom of this pyramid. And these are the people having daily exchange, daily communication with the customer. I said at the beginning, I like very much soccer. If you have people watching from US, it's the one played with the feet. and let's think about that. I ask you 3 questions. If there is a soccer match, who are the customers from your point of view?
The customers, well, basically the people in the stands and the people watching from home.
The fans, correct.
Yes.
And what is, from your point of view, the successful customer outcome?
Interesting.
If you need help, you can say it.
No, that's great. I think it depends. I think it's different from fan to fan. I think for some fans, the only outcome that counts is the winning of the team, and that's it. Right. And for others, it's to have fun. And then there's a mix, you know, and then it's probably important for both, but then for some, this is more important than this.
No, I think these are the two most important. Let's focus on the first one. It's the result.
Yeah.
And how do you measure the result if you achieve the successful customer outcome?
More goals.
Yes, one team needs to score more goals than the other one.
Exactly.
And if you win, you won, your fans are happy. If you don't win, the fans are not happy. And let's speak quickly about the organization of this team. If you think you have the manager of this team is putting together all the players, the defender, people who are playing in the midfield, and the strikers, the best one to win the match. It means in order to achieve the successful customer outcome, you select for this match the best one to create this one. If we go back to companies, we have this organigram. I make an example, and again, I don't want to be unpolite. This is our only example to make that understandable. You have all the accountants together, you have all the project manager together, you have all the lawyers together, and therefore it would be like have a team of 11 defenders playing on the field. And if we go one step forward about measuring the success, if we are speaking about the accountant, it's their target is don't make mistake in the accounting. If we think the example of the soccer play, if we have all the defenders and we would pay, or let's say pay more to the defenders if they make more tackles, then we would have 11 defenders on the field making tackles. But the customer, the fans, will not be happy. And therefore, it's really key to have a mix of the skills. You need to organize yourself in order to have all the skills to deliver this customer success. And this is only a small example. And I want to be, again, extremely open. Quote from who I learned this example, it's James Dawkins. It's really a great example. He make a big story around that. I don't want to use or spend too much time on this one, but I think it was understandable that if we think, and you are speaking about leadership skills that we need, perhaps let's try to put together the skills that you want to achieve the successful customer outcome. And the successful customer outcome, it's about seeing the team winning more goals than the other match. And it's not about, again, increasing PTI, pre-tax income, and so on. If you achieve the successful customer outcome that your teams continuously win, then you automatically increase also your revenues because fans are buying more stuff from you and all the gadgets and so on. And I think this is really a great example to start speaking about leadership.
I love this very much because it changes the way I think we look at the game of business. Because right now, I feel in the game of business, at the very, very center is the company, the firm, the business in a sense. But in football, it's different. Sure, the fans are sort of in the center, but then also the actual game is. And the game is not played by one company / one team, but it's actually played by two teams and everybody around them. The stadium management is important. The sponsors are important. And then so many more, stakeholders and entities around it. And it's actually about the game itself. And it's really interesting. I like this way of saying. I love this because it kind of creates this framing of the game of business. Because if we look at business as an actual game, the dynamics are slightly different because the customer becomes more important suddenly, and also becomes more important to, well, not necessarily have teams organized by disciplines, but have teams organized by games. And a game maybe is a project. maybe a game is a transformation.
But let's think about, I think that's the way, and we didn't pre-discuss that, but I like what you said because I can continue now. And I think this is the one of the foundation of Agile, to put together teams with different skills from the business, from the IT, from the other departments, in order to create, let's say, a project or a product, and to create additional pieces of value. And then you have the best people at this moment in order to push forward and to continue this journey of creating additional value for the customer. And I think these are really examples where everybody can understand that if you like soccer or not, but it's make the difference. What are we doing in business? What at the end, soccer, it's also business, because and therefore it's really interesting to have this discussion. And there also, let's go out from the soccer. Perhaps not everybody likes soccer, therefore let's go back to business. But also, if we speak about leadership, then it's also, if you hire somebody, or let's have a look of the employee journey. You hire somebody, then you need to engage, to train people, and then somebody's leaving. And at the end, it's really, if you start also hiring people that are passionate about what they are doing, or they have the right mindset with, let's say, for the topic that you are hiring, I think that it's the best way to start, because skills you can always learn. But if you have the right mindset, if you want to have impact, to create something, I think this is really key, and it starts from there, having the right mindset. And also, if we are speaking about what we are doing for our employees, it's also having really a good relationship with them, trying to understand what motivates people. Perhaps today an employee is motivated to get always more money, and then he fall in love with somebody. And then for this person, it's then important to have time to spend with this person, and perhaps later is then for the children or for something different. Therefore, it's also important to understand what motivates people in order to go the journey with them. And it's not about I am the boss, direct or cross-functional, I am telling you what needs to do, because I have an amount of know-how and you have your know-how. Let's put them together and we have more know-how, and we can progress together. I think also there I saw a really interesting video. It was Simon Sinek speaking with one of the Zappo founders, Tony Aish. And he said, and it's clear, it's theory, but it's for the understanding of what we are discussing. If you are hiring people, and if you would find the intersection about what's your passion, what you are good at, and how you can create value for the company, that's the perfect job for you. And it's clear, it's not always possible, and if you scale in a bigger company, but if you have these ideas with you when you are hiring people or when you are developing people, then it's extremely key. One example, and then I stop again, and you manage a bit the time. It's one sentence that I heard. And it's not in my company. It's spend less on training, because people are leaving earlier. After 1 or 2 years, people are leaving. But think about, if you are not training our people in our company or in the next one, then you're somebody 20, 30, 40 years, and you never trained him, you never brought him to new ideas. It's not possible. We need really to invest in our people, in the people. And sorry, it costs time, but it's a great investment. That's my feeling, that's my view, that's my learning. It's really invest time with the people, have coffee with them. It's not always about business, it's also creating relationship. And also now that we are in home office, then it's not easy to see somebody walking through or saying, how are you, let's have a catch up. Invest time, try to understand how people are feeling at home. Some people are extremely happy, and some people want to go back as quick as possible. Understand why, because if you see they want to go back as quick as possible because they're not in a room that they can use for home office, it's clear. We need to find solution for these people in order to enable them to deliver what they want and what they can, and to empower them, to give them what they need in order to achieve that.
I love that example as well with, employees or customers, because at the end of the day, I really believe if we can create less friction, we win. And friction, maybe in the situation right now is, for some people, home office is the perfect solution. For others, maybe not. And then not saying, no, this is the way we handle it generally, but basically at the end of the day, don't put the process in the center or the rule, but the people, right? Because the problem is always the same. If you put the process in the center, there's friction. And of course, you can never have, I would assume you can never have a solution that is 100% perfectly customized to every single human being at scale. Of course, I get that. But then the other extreme is probably also not the most ideal, saying this is the way we do it, that's the way we do it, right? But then there's I do not believe in black or white. I very much believe in gray in a sense, or color.
Thank you very much. And I really appreciate this discussion, because you said again something where I would like to quickly deep dive. And again, it was not pre-aligned. But what you said, it's about procedures and processes. I read something about, and I forgot the name, I'm sorry. It was one of the former GE top management. She started, it was a lady, and there were something like 20 to 40 pages or more about how to dress in the company. And she said, let's make it simple. Let's change the dressing, how people need to dress with a small sentence. Dress accordingly. We trust people that can understand what it means, with not going with shirts or I don't know what, or in bikini or something like that, because we are all people, we are all in the business, and we understand what it means. And therefore, if we make things simple and we trust our employees, our colleagues, then it makes this extremely simple. And you can also get the efficiency, because think about reviewing all this dress code, having people reading this dress code, because sometimes with the policies you need to sign or to confirm that you read really everything, and you spend a lot of time, and you are telling me that I cannot, walk without shoes in the company. It's clear. I can understand that. I don't need to read that. And therefore, I like very much these people that are trying to make things simple. One of the last example I would like to make, it's also Disney parks. The employees working there, they have three main tasks. Do the job you are hired for. The second one is to take care about the guests. And the third one is to keep the park clean. And if you think about these three, you can use, re-leverage everywhere, and it's really easy, understandable. You are here to do something, therefore you do your job. Take care of the guest. It's what we discussed earlier about customer and taking care who is giving you the money to pay the salaries and so on. And keep the property clean. Is if you are walking around and it's not clean, then you are not fulfilling the basic needs that you have, and therefore you cannot work, and your customer can also not work. This is the idea.
Yeah,
sorry,
I love it.
Also, sorry, 1 second. Also here, it's not clean. There is paper on the floor. It's the Disney magic.
Yeah, that happens when you have kids. My son is same age like yours.
Exactly.
So there's one more question that I have before we wrap up. It's a little bit more far out into the future and up in the sky, but I always want to ask that. So let's imagine you're 80 years old now, and you're sitting in your rocking chair, and you're looking back at your life. What's something that you would want to see that has changed through the period of today to when you are at that point?
First of all, I would be extremely thankful to have the privilege to still be here on this world and seeing how it changed, how it developed, and so on. And there I don't want to be really difficult or soft and saying I want to have the peace in the world or no wars or more diversity in the companies. And therefore, if I really think it's more than 40 years, and therefore it's quite difficult. But based on the fact that we are here and we are in the business and we are speaking now about business, first of all, sure, I want to see my family happy and healthy, or happy and healthy. I didn't say rich, I said only happy and healthy, because I think this is our key values, and all the others come from themselves. But I think because of what you're discussing, at the end we are human, and if we could be a bit more human also in the companies, with the customers, with the employees, understanding what are the needs of the customer and how to fulfill and to comply with what customer needs, I think it would be really a great step forward. And I see already now quite a lot of really good methodologies like Agile and so on. They will extremely change in the next year, but there we are really going into creating, let's say, this successful customer outcome that you can achieve, and then you can keep your customer.
Hey, Gregorio, thank you so much for sharing all of this and for being here. I really, really appreciate it. Thanks for diving in, sharing your stories, your experiences and everything. Yeah, thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Thank you very much, Daniel. Sorry, one sentence I need to say. What I shared with you and with the audience was my own view. It's not related to my company, it was my own view, but I think it was fun. For me, it was really fun having the discussion. Thank you very much to everybody, and see you soon.